The common need to grow and expand should be done through a thoughtful process. Industries, businesses, and governments worldwide have recognized the need for common sets of standards to ensure that this happens. How can anyone be aware of the impact, both good and bad, that all their daily activities can have on the environment? Is there a way to meet environmental challenges yet control the costs? Can companies increase profits yet reduce their environmental impacts? From all parts of the world, goods come to our cities and towns, and then into our homes. It has been reported that this global market has increased by 1,500% in the last 40 years. As the demand for goods increases, will we be able to give our children a safe and clean world? Our need to reduce barriers to trade has increased the need to create commonly recognized systems to ensure worldwide standards for quality and environmental management. One such international standard for environmental management systems, or an EMS, is ISO 14001. Along with other parts of the general ISO 14000 standards, it was designed to complement other business systems, such as ISO 9000 or QS 9000. The series of ISO 9000 and QS 9000 automotive standards were designed as common management system principles for quality. In 1996, ISO 14001 was created to help set a worldwide standard for environmental excellence that could fold into other existing management programs. Although many companies benefit from integrated systems, an environmental management system found under ISO 14001 or other environmental standards can be independent of other business programs. Both standards are based on the idea of continually improving your processes. These systems are voluntary. They encourage you to focus on what you do and how you do it through a cycle of planning, doing or implementing, checking or correcting, and finally acting or reviewing to improve processes. Better performance will be the result. And these systems are designed to be used worldwide for many organizations, not just industry. ISO 14001 is being used in many American companies today. Mylan Screw, a 30-employee producer of machined metal parts, discussed how to learn about implementing an environmental management system.
There are resource books available. One of the best, I think, is an EMS implementation guide that was produced by NSF International with EPA funding, so it is public domain. It is a guide written for the person who is to implement an EMS in a small business. It's not written from a theoretical management standpoint. This is a nuts and bolts, what do I do now kind of guide. Very helpful in interpreting both the standard and what needs to be done to satisfy it. A management system is the way business handles a portion of their operation in a business-like manner, such as an accounting management system, which involves ledgers, certain practices that you go through. It's often not written down, but it is a management system nonetheless. Most people are familiar with ISO 9000, which is a quality management system. ISO 14000 is an environmental management system. They have some of the same elements. A policy where a short statement of what the intention of this plan is given by the management of a company or corporation. A corrective action process, if problems are found, how they are corrected within the system. It assigns responsibilities and duties, who is going to do what and when. It's an organized manner of handling part of the operation of a business. It is a demonstration of environmental awareness, environmental maturity that cries out for recognition by units of government. that I think would encourage implementation of such systems by many more businesses than have so far. It is not as daunting as it appears. There are very good resources available. The benefits of the system people will discover as they go along. One of the benefits of our system, we're discovering the amount of oil that was going out with our turnings. Had we not asked the question, we would never have discovered how much oil we were actually losing. I think one goes into any such system with a certain amount of faith, and you will discover benefits proportionate to the effort you put into it. They won't be the same for each company. Each company will find their own benefits that they will have to define and attach a value to. But as with so many things, what you put in is in direct relation to what you get out. One of the more interesting pathways that we found for materials to leave our plant was oil as a thin film on the surface of the steel turnings that are a result of our machining operation. Thanks to an audit by the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, an environmental and energy audit, they did a mass flow analysis of our oil and turnings, determined that we were losing something like $20,000 worth of oil per year as a very thin film on our turnings because they had so much surface area. This was the major pathway for oil leaving our shop.
The benefits of establishing an EMS program allows you to empower your employees with the knowledge of how to take care of any contaminants, spills, hazardous chemicals that they would come in contact with on a daily basis. They have set procedures in place, they know where to go, and they know where to look, and hopefully that would remove the panic factor.
ISO 14001 does not require third-party registration. The standard allows companies to self-certify. The decision rests with the company to evaluate the relative benefits of either action. Third-party registration versus self-certifying. A system based on ISO 14001 will have a written environmental policy and methods to evaluate environmental aspects of its operation and their impacts on the environment. The policy should be built upon the concepts of compliance with environmental law, continued improvement, and pollution prevention. The policy should fit your site and be communicated to your employees and the public. These standards are working worldwide. Canon, an international corporation producing a multitude of electronic products, has had success with ISO 14001 in many of its locations.
Benefits from the EMS have been surprising to me. What I've seen that's been surprising are small effects. For example, departments that we hadn't considered before are looking at their impact, and instead of, for alcohol for cleaning, they put it on a small wipe and they wipe the part. They used to use a squeeze bottle to apply the alcohol. What they're doing is, instead of a squeeze bottle now, they're using an applicator bottle so they can control the amount of solvent alcohol basically that's put out. Very, very small contribution, but it's what they control, and so therefore they're making their contribution from their activity. And so things like that are what I've seen as a benefit that I didn't expect. I think the EMS for a smaller company would have even greater benefits than we had. As a larger corporation here, as I said, we looked at, as a matter of recourse, we've always been concerned with the environment and conservation of resources because we have a lot at stake. Smaller companies, that impact of conservation of resources maybe isn't considered as much as what we might do here. And I've talked to people with smaller companies, and they've had significant financial effects from looking at this thing and actually implementing 14,000.
Canon has implemented ISO 14001 in their manufacturing facilities throughout the world. In a Thailand Canon facility that makes copiers and fax machines for U.S. markets, the controls of their environmental management system are obvious. Good management of solid waste can be seen in the reuse and recycling of materials: cardboard, Pallets, styrofoam packaging, and other materials are separated and put to new uses. Canon has started its green procurement standards for vendors, which incorporates the strictest environmental goals from around the world as benchmarks for its suppliers. Ernie Hartman explains.
Basically, green procurement is Canon has set up a very detailed list of guidelines for its suppliers. And what we'll do is we'll be implementing it the latter part of this year here in Virginia. But basically what we do with green procurement is get with the suppliers, take a look at their process, make recommendations on how they can maybe conserve some resources, alternate if they're using solvents, for example, for processing their parts for cleaning or whatever, make recommendations on alternate solvents, some similar to what we've used in-house here. But basically take our example and sort of spread it to our suppliers.
Why would a company undergo such an effort voluntarily? The reasons go beyond the motive for profit. Chuck Tellis of Milan Screw offers his opinion.
I think most of our local community is unaware of our working on an environmental management system. I guess it could be used for PR purposes. I don't think that's the main reason for having one. It's for responsibility. You don't shout the fact that you do what you're supposed to be doing. You just do it.